What's up, YouTubers? Aldo S. J. McLaren back with part 2 of my bio story. If you guys watched part 1, then thank you very much for that. And if you've come back for part 2, an extra special thank you very much for that. This part 2 is going to be about my sci-fi hobby, and it's going to discuss two franchises that are very near and dear to my heart. It is going to be about Star Wars, and it is also going to be about Star Trek. Starting from the top, I got introduced to Star Wars when I was about 4 or 5. It was when I was put in front of the television. I got this done to me quite a lot when I was younger. And I got introduced to not the first one, not the second one, but Return of the Jedi. That was my first introduction to Star Wars. And I sort of just clicked with it right away. I don't know why. A lot of people I have found over the years with Star Wars, it's either a hit or miss. And I instantly loved it. As I got older, I got to see, obviously, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and of course, the guy that created it all, George Lucas, great storyteller. He introduced us to 3 prequel stories, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. So all the stories together was kind of like a full circle kind of story arc, or as it's titled, the Star Wars Saga. And wow, it's one of those sci-fi stories that is kind of like an old school Western, but also kind of an updated kind of thing as well, if that makes sense. And as I've gotten older, I got introduced to other people that have a love for Star Wars as well, which was really cool. And 9 years ago, I actually managed to get my wife into Star Wars as well. I've ended up paying for that because now she likes Star Wars as much as I do. But for some reason, I'm positive she likes the prequels more than I do. I don't know why. It might be a Ewan McGregor thing, I do believe. But as time has went on, as everybody knows, George Lucas did sell that franchise to Disney, and the juggernaut that Disney is, they have made more films. From the Star Wars saga, they have brought out Episode 7 to 9, which Episode 7 is The Force Awakens, Episode 8 is The Last Jedi, and the final film for that is The Rise of Skywalker. I would have said The Last Jedi should have been the last film, but anyway, that's my opinion. But during that as well, they've also given us 2 other prequel stories as well, called Rogue One and Solo. Now, Rogue One sort of takes place 16 years after Revenge of the Sith, which coincidentally enough is when A New Hope starts. But Rogue One is sort of like just a few days before A New Hope. And then as you watch it, when you're finished up watching Rogue One, you can zoom right into A New Hope. So that's kind of a cool link right there. However, the Solo film did not need to happen. I've talked to other people that agree with that the Solo film did not need to happen because you got the backstory of who Han Solo was, and you just didn't really need that story out there. But what Star Wars has given us as well is a great TV show as well called The Clone Wars. It's an animated show which sort of ties in between episode 2 and episode 3. Great bit of storytelling, great bit of animation. The animation is sort of mixed between CGI and old school drawn animation, which is really cool. And you get sort of a more in-depth understanding of who the Jedi are and who other characters are. And through all that, you get to see how Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader becomes who he is. Great bit, like I say, great bit of storytelling, and I am a full-fledged Star Wars fan. And do they need more? Not really, but I would like to see where it's going to go as time goes on. If anybody that doesn't know, I know that we are actually getting more TV shows and more films coming very soon. In fact, as far as I know, Ewan McGregor is coming back as Obi-Wan Kenobi for Star Wars Kenobi, I believe it's called. It's going to be a TV series for him that's been life between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, I believe. I think it is anyway. I'm not too sure. But let's just wait and see on what happens there, right? But another great thing to come out of Star Wars as well is a TV show called, The Mandalorian. Anybody that knows who the Mandalorians are, they are sort of, if anybody remembers, I'll say it better from there, Boba Fett from Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi is his people, and the story arc of the Mandalorian is so cool, so cool. The effects in it as well are second to none, and it takes place like I want to say a year or so after Return of the Jedi. Great bit of storytelling. Honestly, check that out on Disney Plus. I can't fault that. But what I am going to tell you now is my favourite Star Wars film. Now, my favourite Star Wars film is actually Return of the Jedi. And the reason why that is because it was my first introduction to Star Wars. But I will go on record and say that Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars film, just because of the directing, the storytelling, everything rolled into one with that film. It really speaks volume and really sets up for what is to become Return of the Jedi. And the nice thing about Star Wars as well is the fact that I've managed to, like I say, share that with my wife, close friends and everything like that. And having that friendship sort of has equaled for my next love as well. I am a Trekkie. Yes, I am a Trekkie. I'm a Star Trek fan, and I'm going to start with that as well right now. I got into Star Trek round about the same time, maybe I was about 5 or 6, I believe. I got into Star Trek. My father sat me down watching BBC Two. The Next Generation was coming on, and my father said, "Sit down, you will enjoy this." Obviously, my father had watched the original series with Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock, and it wasn't so much the teaser of the episode that got me, it was the opening credits that got me. Just all the camera shots of the space, and I think that's what got me into finding out things about astronomy, the big word for me, by the way, to come out with, to find out about astronomy and just get an overall appreciation for the stars, you know, big appreciation for what's out there. And it's, as I've watched Star Trek over the years, the question is, are we alone in the universe? I don't think so. I will put my hand up right now, and I think there are other life out there. If we are the only folk that's in this galaxy right now, then that is boring. I doubt that very, very much. I actually believe that there is a similar system like where we are in the Milky Way, and it's just, you know, there's other planets out there. Sorry if I'm going geek on you there, but like I say, I am a sci-fi comic book geek, so I will put that out there. But yeah, getting back to Star Trek. So I was introduced to The Next Generation with Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Commander Riker, played by Sir Patrick Stewart and Jonathan Frakes, respectively. But my favourite character of The Next Generation was actually Mr. Worf, played by legendary Michael Dorn. And just watching his evolve story arc go from being just a standard Klingon to who he became, it was a joy to watch over the 7 seasons of TNG. And then eventually you get to get him slotted into Deep Space Nine, which is my favourite, actually my favourite Star Trek is Deep Space Nine. When Deep Space Nine came around, it was just in the middle of season 6 of TNG. We got introduced to Avery Brooks as commander, not captain yet, Commander Sisko. For some reason, the producers of Star Trek wanted to dip their toes in the water and see how us, the audience, would react to a black captain. But instead of giving him the rank of captain, Avery Brooks was brought in as a full rank commander, and it was, like I say, they were just testing the water to see how we would react, and we reacted big time in a positive way, because come the season finale of season 3, he finally got promoted to captain, and then from season 4 up to season 7, we got Captain Sisko. In all honesty, that should have happened in episode 1 of the pilot, Emissary, and we should have gotten a full season 1 to 7 as Avery Brooks as Captain Sisko. But we got what we got, right? And going back to what I said about Michael Dorn joining the cast, after the events of what happened with Star Trek Generations, when the Enterprise D got destroyed, the producers decided that they needed more for Deep Space Nine. From season 3, they had already added the USS Defiant, my favourite ship in the Star Trek franchise, by the way. But they needed more if they were going to continue with the story arc that they were having. And they were going through the cast members in TNG of who they could slot into Deep Space Nine, and Worf just fit that mold that they were looking for. So Michael Dorn went from the TNG franchise into Deep Space Nine, and he fit so very, very well. From season 4 up to season 7, where he got promoted to command for his being a lieutenant commander, and he was sort of Captain Sisko's number 2/3 in command, if that makes sense. But the entire cast of Deep Space Nine sort of just, they were so well loved. They blended so well together, and it, like I say, is going down as my favourite Star Trek TV series. Then you get to Star Trek Voyager, Star Trek Enterprise, which was a prequel of the original series, and the most recent one, Star Trek Discovery. Now, out of all the shows and everything like that, the franchises went on for over 50 years. It is crazy that it has gotten where it is right now, and that is including like play sets, replicas of the ships in the films as well. in the 1970s, we got Star Trek the Motion Picture, which was more or less just basically an episode of the original series on a bigger scale. And from Star Trek the Motion Picture to Star Trek the Undiscovered Country, you had Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock's crew in that part of the franchise. And then you got to Star Trek Generations, where you had 3 members of the original cast passing the torch to the TNG cast. And that went from Star Trek Generations to Star Trek Nemesis, unfortunately the worst Star Trek TNG film. Unfortunately, we have never gotten a film from Deep Space Nine or Voyager. They were always talked about, but unfortunately they've just never came to be. And we've also gotten a full circle story arc from Captain Picard as well, where quite recently they've done the TV show Star Trek Picard, where we actually see what's happened to Captain Picard after Star Trek Nemesis. There is a few gaps that need to be filled in that show, but another special show that we have gotten as well is called Star Trek Lower Decks. It's just sort of an animated comedy version of Star Trek that we haven't gotten before. So now as time is going on, we are getting Star Trek is just only going to get bigger for the next however many years it's on our TV screens. So I'm looking forward to what it's going to become. And going to my favourites, my favourite series, and this is going to probably be an unpopular one. My favourite series is actually Deep Space Nine. Just like I say, the way Avery Brooks brought Captain Sisko to the audience just spoke so much volume to me. So I enjoyed Deep Space Nine for what it was and what it is, what it was and what it became. I love the USS Defiant. I am that sad that I probably know about 60 or 70% of information on that ship. From the quote of Jonathan Frakes in First Contact, excuse me, tough little ship. It certainly is. Yes, I liked TNG because it was my first introduction. Yes, I like the original series. I kind of think the original series sort of got a little bit boring come season 3 because they were just reusing storylines. Star Trek Voyager I'm in the middle about, I do like it and I don't like it. Star Trek Enterprise, great show. Unfortunately, it took till season 3 and 4 for it to really catapult into becoming bigger. Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Picard, and other TV series, they are great. They all have their part in Star Trek history now, and it's only going to go bigger and bigger. When it comes to the films, my favourite Star Trek film out of all of them is actually Star Trek First Contact. It's the fact that they went back in time and just shown how we as a society have become in the year 2063, and also they introduced us to the Enterprise E, which is a great ship, awesome ship, and I just think it's an overall great story, and Jonathan Frakes directs that film, and he directs it so very well. And I do like the trilogy that has Chris Pine in it. Yes, and even my wife loves that. She is a big Chris Pine person, so she loves that trilogy. It has its pros, it has its cons. It's a revamp of the franchise in film format, which is fine. Did it need to happen? Yes and no. It was a way to reintroduce Star Trek to the world, I would say. but in my opinion, Star Trek is all about going forward. It should never be about going back. And I think with Star Trek Discovery, they actually picked up on that, where Star Trek Discovery is set, I want to say, 10 years before the original series. And quite recently in season 3 of Star Trek Discovery, they have went so many years into the future. And that is when it's going forward. And I am a firm believer that Star Trek should always be about going forward. It's the future, right? But yeah, like I said, it has been fun meeting folk that are fellow Trekkies. It's fun to share that kind of experience, and I'm loud and proud to be a Trekkie and be a Star Wars fan. And it's great to go to the cinema with my friends to see the latest Star Trek film or Star Wars film. It's great to share that stuff with my wife as well. But guys, comment below and let me know what you guys have. If you guys have an opinion on Star Wars or Star Trek, please share in the comments below. Positive, negative, it's all good, guys. I'm not going to take offense if you don't like Deep Space Nine. But as always, like, share, comment, subscribe, all the jazz that you need to do. And I'm just going to finish up here, guys. Thank you so very much for coming back for part 2. Keep an eye out for the 3rd and final chapter, which is going to be on my comic book franchise hobby. So, as always, guys, you stay safe, you stay awesome, and good journey.